I'm Graham and welcome to my update to my layout Wood Hill Park. I've been working hard on my new TMD at the moment, which has taken a lot of my time up. So it's been a job to try and do a bit of filming and editing and carry on with the layout. But I've done my best, and hopefully this little update helps explain where I am. Also, I've been fitting sound in another class 31 I've got with a different speaker, so there's a little bit of an experiment between different speaker types, so you can judge whether you think sounds better in the new class 31 or not. But I've got a lot of stuff to do with the layout, so I must crack on, and hopefully you'll enjoy the video. Thanks for subscribing and watching. Please continue. I notice a lot of people don't subscribe. It would be handy if you did subscribe, because it don't cost nothing and it does let me know that people are interested in me carrying on doing this. So thanks again, and hopefully enjoy the video. Cheers. Right, I've just lately been working on the top section of my layout and relaying some of the track, trying to get it more level and also more sort of usable, as some of it didn't seem to work out very well. So I've gone through relaying quite a bit, but in doing so I've also found I don't really want to take this upper level off because it'd be too much work. So I'm going to stay with it and work to plan B, which is to work from underneath a bit more, but that brings a lot of problems, which I'll show you in a minute. I also decided to put in inspection pits to go inside the engine sheds and maintenance sheds, and I've drilled holes for all the points, turnouts, and just give it a quick paint over just to make it sort of ready to receive the ballast, really, so you can't see through the ballast if there's a bit missing. But ballasting is a long way off at the moment, so I've been working upside down, cutting some sort of panels away for access, and that's real fun and games because all the sawdust falls straight in your face and in your mouth, in your eyes, everywhere. So it's a mask and eye protection on, as after my first go at it I realised how much is actually falling on you because you can't get out of the way. Anyway, this is the underneath, and there's one of my access panels I've cut away. This should allow me to get to by the points, the dropper wires coming down, wire lighting, wherever I choose to put on this upper level. But I didn't really want to do this, but I just thought it was too much work to now remove this upper level. I should have thought more in advance of how I was going to do it. Also, I extended some sidings at the back to take some of my longer trains, and I've also installed a backing scene, which I'm not entirely happy with, but it will do for now, and just gives it a bit of an industrial backdrop, but doesn't really match in at the ends very well. Plus the colour of the backdrop is a bit bluey. It doesn't look that realistic to me, but I'm sort of getting used to it as a temporary measure, really. So, get a little shot underneath, and you can see the cutout. It's a fairly big cutout and should allow me quite a bit of access to do what I want, and even if a train comes off underneath I should be able to retrieve it. There is a line underneath, but I rarely use it. It's part of the bottom extra loop, but I may use it more now I know I've got access to it a bit more. But onward and upward then. I've got a few more panels to cut out, so here we go with a bit more sawdust in my face. Yeah, this is what you look like after getting covered in sawdust, laying upside down underneath the baseboard. So don't try this at home, it's very messy, and I wouldn't recommend it. Probably best to do it from the top, thinking in advance. So here I am covered in sawdust, and I've got a couple of more openings to cut in the board. So I'm looking forward to this. Right, I've finished doing my access underneath the top level at the moment, so I've just put a false wall in down here, retaining wall, just to keep the draft out for me, and just to leave it there for now as a a temporary structure really. This allows me to get on with the TMD when I can, and also keep the draft out. I've got loads of dropper wires to put in and to connect up to the main bus wire underneath, as well as point motors, loads of different things really. So it'll be a long while before I do any embankment down this area. So it's going to be a retaining wall made with hardboard and wallpaper, just for now, just until I've done all the work on top and underneath. The wallpaper is quite interesting, as it's sort of a brick finish that I had from years ago, and I bought it thinking it might do as brick paper, but it's pretty poor, but okay as a temporary structure. I suppose I should put a big sign on this saying new development coming soon, because it's just like a fascia you'd have in front of a building site while work's being carried out. Just temporary. Also, it will stop the trains if they derail, hopefully not, they don't normally, coming off of this section and crashing down to the level beneath. So, just temporary. Right, it's time to repopulate the TMD, just temporary, as I've got loads of work to do still, but just finishing off, tidying up, making it usable again. It's all taken a bit of time because I need to get my track work right, and this is a bit of a fiddly, laborious job, but so far I'm getting there. As you can see, it runs quite well across the points, but not without a lot of plan about getting the geometry right of the track, but it's worth it in the long run. Now backwards across the points, just to see what happens if anything pops off. These wagons are quite light as well, so they do come off quite readily if there's anything wrong at all. So far so good, all seems nice and smooth, but it does take time, but it's worth spending it. And the odd click here and there makes you think it's going to pop off, but no, it seems fairly good. Lovely smooth travel from the loco and the train. As I say, it's worth doing, because once it's down pretty much for good, it can give you no end of trouble. Right, just another very slow run across the points to check again. 47 seems to be running nice and smooth, and these rather light wagons are staying on the track. Right, my original Class 31 I fitted with a TTS sound chip with the standard speaker that come with it, and I thought you might like to know what this sounds like against my new 31 that I have fitted a Megabass speaker in, still with the same TTS chip. So this is how my first 31 sounds like with the original, well, the supplied speaker. Now I thought I'd upgrade to a mega bass speaker for my other 31. It did involve filing a bit of the chassis to incorporate it, which was a little bit painful, but everything seems to come out alright, even though it's a very tight fit. But I think it was worth it, and see what you think. I think the sound is a lot better. I shall probably keep them as individuals so they do sound a bit different to each other, but I think the Engineer's Dutch Yellow sounds a better speaker, with a mega bass speaker in, should I say. So I would say it's the best bet, but it is a bit painful filing a bit of the chassis to get it in. It only just fits with a little bit of frigging about, but it is worth it. So just thought you might want to see what I've been playing about with in between doing all the other sort of parts of the layout. Right, let's start the engineer's 37 up. Far better, I reckon. Much more deeper, throaty sound. So I may be updating the other 37, but at the moment I'll keep them individual. But an interesting experiment. I did have a comment about why my layout hasn't got much graffiti on it. Being the 1980s, it was seen everywhere, and I do intend to add graffiti here and there in time, but at the moment there isn't much. There's just a bit of homemade graffiti on my derelict water tower that you may see with the housing back scene on the raised section if you look carefully. But it's just my attempt at homemade graffiti, but I will be adding stuff to the bridges and some of the raised walling, retaining wall and whatever, as it was a common sight, even though some people would say it was quite ugly, but it was what the era was like, so I will be adding it in time. The petrol garage I added to the village scene just for my little sort of joke about petrol shortage. Will be staying at the moment as it seems to fit in quite well, and it's nice to see an old name like National, on the layout, which has disappeared from our lives really. National and a few other names that just don't exist no more, or don't seem to. Sometimes you might see one in a village in the middle of nowhere, but I think they're pretty much gone from our lives, which is a shame, because they're sort of names you remember from the past. But it's good to bring them back on this 1980s layout of mine, and that's what I intend to do. Bring back things that I remember in the 1980s. And if there's anything you can think of, please just put them in the comments, and it'll hopefully add to my ideas of what to place on the layout to bring back the 1980s. I'm enjoying playing about with the cars. It's nice to see the old cars on the layout, and a lot of other sort of things. I want to bring back posters and stuff, and sort of just make it like a window in the 1980s, which in my opinion was one of the best eras there was. But then I was enjoying it as a young lad. So if you've got any ideas, please leave them in the comments. Thanks very much. That's it for now. I've got to get on with making the layout now, but hopefully that updates you and where I am. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for all your comments. It's been interesting reading, and hopefully this gives you some insight to where I am. So there's a part 2 coming soon, as I've got a lot of work to do, and you will. That's a phrase I keep saying all the time, isn't it? I've got a lot of work to do, but I have. So I must crack on, and here's a bit of music and a bit more footage to play out the video. So bye for now, cheers, see you.